Okay, so I've got this 5-inch gun turret here cut down, gotten a lot of the sprues that are attached to delicate parts cut off. Now it's time to start going after the base, and I don't have to be as careful here. Okay, I can, I still want to cut any edge sprue, okay, individually. Okay, it doesn't take long. Again, you just got to be patient. And you can see here I'm not trimming back like I was before because there's nothing delicate around there that would break off if the sprue goes flying at it at a high rate of speed. So you get to here, and the one thing I did want to show you that I found for some reason on these 5-inch guns, this shell ejection chute back here, if you go in there and just like I could stick this sprue cutter in there and just cut all 9 sprues under there in one slice. The problem with it I've found is that it will oftentimes break off a chunk of this chute. So you don't want that. So you got to be kind of careful specifically around this chute. It's an edge, but it's a good example. So you got to cut each sprue individually and trim it back like I did before. Okay, so you get to a spot like that, be careful. Go ahead and take your time to trim it back. Sorry if my hand's in the way here. Try to cut it so you can see it. Cut it and then nudge it back. Just kind of crush it back. So when you get to the rest of the stuff, I'll show you a little quicker way of cutting some things. But okay, so now I got most of the delicate stuff, sprues that are attached to the delicate stuff, cut off, and I'm gonna show you that I'm never suggesting with my parts that you ever do this, but I've cut the sprues. You can rip them off once they're cut. Sometimes be very careful because you can easily damage things. See, I'm making cuts now of multiple sprues, but look at it. I'm very careful that it's not going to damage anything. There's no way that it can cause damage to anything. It's going to shoot it away from any kind of delicate part. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I can tear this stuff out, literally, because it's all internal. However, I'm still going to cut some of these things so that I don't risk possibly making a big mistake and breaking the piece. A lot of parts, you can just, you can pull sprues off of if they're supported in a manner that the supports are all internal to where you don't care if it damages it. But most of my stuff is not like that, unfortunately, and it's primarily because of all the detail I'm adding on the part. So to get inside here, I'm just going to take a X-Acto knife here and cut through some of these internal supports, loosen them up so I can just tear them out, because this is all internal now, so I'm not really too concerned. On this particular part, you can't see inside the thing, so I don't really care what it looks like inside. Now I do have a version of this. I'm making a version that you'll be able to see the inside, so you won't want, it'll be supported differently, but you wouldn't want to do this. But you can just kind of pull the thing out and you get in there and cut out any other remaining internal supports, with a razor blade or however you want to do it. You don't have to be too careful here. Okay, so I got the sprues off, and there's still quite a bit of nubs left and a little bit of sanding. The beautiful part about this is that this stuff sands off really nice. It's real easy to sand. uh, and it comes out really nice after you prime it. So really nice material to work with. Let me show you some other parts where, um, like some bases here where I've printed them directly on the platform, and so there's no sprues at all. And it makes it really easy. That's really nice when you can do that, but it's kind of rare. Unless you're printing a lot of superstructure pieces or something like that, it's kind of rare. These here are templates for painting, for a superstructure piece where this template, you put tape on it, you cut the tape, and then you have the perfect shape of the tape that you put in the part, and that way you can, if your floor is a different color, you have it all painted, you put the tape on it that's cut already, pre-cut, and then you paint over the bulkheads. So here are some more parts that were printed right on the platform. As you can see, it's held down on this board with tape. When I cure or do a final curing, I tape all my parts down because there is some shrinkage with this resin, with any resin. And if you don't, you're going to get parts that will warp. And even though it may not be much, I try to keep everything, I tape everything and try to keep it as flat as possible so it ends up nice and square. Again, this part here is a template for painting. It's a template for a pilot house. Again, you put the tape on it, cut the tape to size, and then you can paint the floor of your pilot house, let it dry, and then you put that pre-cut tape right in the pilot house, fits nicely, and do the rest of your painting. As I said earlier, this material sands really well. I'm sanding the bottom, something you probably never see, but bottom of a gun turret. But the supports left little marks where each support was attached. And so I'm just taking a little bit of sandpaper. And this is really rough sandpaper. What's interesting is that, see how it leaves such a nice edge there? What's interesting is that I can use very rough sandpaper, sand it, and then prime it, and just standard primer, and it just kind of, the material is such that it fills in with primer very nicely. Makes a nice, really nice looking surface. So see how easy that is to sand. A couple other tools here. Here's a smaller sanding block, and again, this is totally unnecessary. It's the bottom of the part, you can't really see it. But I might as well clean it up a little. It's easy to do. Look how quickly that it takes. I got right here, I'm just going to go back and forth, clean up where the supports were attached. Just more than anything, kind of want to show you. I do that on my gun turrets because it only takes a few seconds, but this material sands really nicely. I'll sand the side here. Adds 3 supports here. I don't know if you can see them. I can feel them. I don't know if you can see them. You want to, when painting, if you can feel it and then you paint it, you can probably see it. So I'm just going to lightly sand it out. And this is pretty rough sandpaper. I'm not worried about damaging the part or being able to see those sand lines because the nature of the resin, for some reason, the primer hides this stuff so well. And yet it's got, the paint and primer specifically tends to stick to the cured resin very nicely, where it's sanded and where it isn't sanded. Doesn't seem to really matter. Obviously, where it's sanded, it's going to stick even better. But anyway, yeah, this doesn't look that good. You clean it off, you paint it, it looks fantastic. Yeah, this is totally unnecessary, but the side of the ladder, they had some supports attached to it here. I'm going to sand it. Sand off where those supports are attached just lightly. It's super easy. Flattens it, and then maybe there's a round piece there, which will look fine. Looks like it was made that way. But this material just, there are times when you need to kind of clean things up a little bit with sandpaper. I've got Here I've got a couple sprues I removed, and I'm going to go ahead and sand those off too. And really the only reason is because, I mean, I put rivets on this silly thing, so you know you can see the rivets when you paint it. You don't put your paint on too thick. So since you can see the rivets, I better sand off those where those sprues were. Again, just take some sandpaper, and I'll just take it, and it's an old piece here, and kind of fold it, and you know, make kind of an edge with it folded, and then go in there, and I just want to make sure I don't want to sand off those rivets. The stuff sands just so nicely, so easily. It comes out really nice after you prime it. Yeah, just sand those nubs off so that you can't feel them. Man, you should be good to prime.